Hello guys, welcome back, and today we're going to be talking about Eugene Melnyk, some of the controversies surrounding him involving a banned reporter and him creating a burner account. Now, after the Ottawa Senators Uber incident, the franchise said themselves they were trying to clean up their act and become a much better team. And with that, we saw a little bit of change, but now we see a little bit of embarrassing decisions made by Eugene Melnyk just in the last couple of days. Now, most people knew that Eugene Melnyk was not the most generous, or not the most kind, not the most clean owner in the NHL. And I think that was obvious even a couple of years ago. But in the last year, pretty much everything has changed for the Ottawa Senators. But Eugene Melnyk has stayed as that cheap, just kind of scummy owner that he has always been. Now, the Ottawa Senators in 1 year went from a team that was one goal away from the Eastern Conference Final into a team that was competing for the #1 overall pick last year. Changes like that in a year don't just happen. And while there's a lot of parity in the NHL, stuff like that, there has to be some management meddling there. And Eugene Melnyk is literally the definition of meddling when you shouldn't be. But with this, even after the Uber incident, we now have some more juicy details and some more juicy stories. I mean, a burner account was made, and now the Ottawa Senators are threatening and banning reporters left and right. Now, we're first going to start with the reporter story, and it first starts with Ken Warren. Now, Ken Warren was a reporter for the Ottawa Sun / the Ottawa Citizen. Now, if you guys know the Uber incident, you know that the original video was published by the Ottawa Citizen, and the Ottawa Senators had this whole incident. They were trying to get the Ottawa Citizen to take that video down, and the Ottawa Citizen obviously did not. That story was making them a bunch of money. Why would they? So they continued to go on like usual after that video, but then Ken Warren, the reporter for the Ottawa Citizen and the Ottawa Sun, who was working for the Ottawa Senators, got blocked from traveling with the team to report on the team, and he had to get his own flight toward, I think it was in Tampa. I think they were playing a game against the Tampa Bay Lightning. He had to get his own flight and missed a practice because the Ottawa Senators banned him from doing so and reporting on the team. Ken Warren was literally standing at the airport gate waiting to be picked up by the Ottawa Senators and their team to go on a flight while he was blocked, and then he had to get a flight later on the day, which means that he'll miss practice that day. He wasn't able to report on the team, and he was basically blocked from doing his own job. And yes, while Ken Warren works for the Ottawa Citizen, he wasn't the guy that produced that video. He wasn't the guy that technically released that video. So it was pretty much a jab at the Ottawa Citizen and the Ottawa Sun for releasing that video. He punished Ken Warren for doing his own job rather than going after the company that, published the video that he was so mad about. Okay, I guess that's something you can get away with. Yeah, I mean, not a lot of teams. I don't think any other team allows reporters to go on them with their team flights. So the Ottawa Senators, I guess, are eliminating that. That's okay. That's excusable. It's still pretty scummy, but it's excusable. But this next story that was just revealed in the same article makes Melnyk look even worse. Now, in the same article that the Ottawa Sun published, they mentioned that TSN reporter Brett Wallace was apparently threatened by Eugene Melnyk. Now, this whole incident started last year during the Alumni Parliament Hill game in December. So I think that will be December of last year. So this is pretty much a year later, right now, currently. But this whole story is also pretty juicy. Now, Brett Wallace is a reporter at TSN, so he's doing pretty well for himself, but he was threatened by Eugene Melnyk for pretty much just asking a question. Now, I think this might have been pre-game or during that game or something like that, but Brett Wallace ended up asking why he was withholding from paying his employees their bonus money. Now, that's a perfectly valid question. We know that they were doing that. We know that the Ottawa Senators are obviously not the most rich team in the world, and Eugene Melnyk has something to do with that. So he was asked that question, and yeah, that's a perfectly good question. Now, Eugene Melnyk denied that, and that's perfectly fine. He has the right to do that. And again, it would have been perfectly fine if Melnyk just stopped there and declined the question, and that was that. But after that interview, or whatever it was, after he asked that question, after the cameras were off, Eugene Melnyk apparently said to Brett Wallace that, had a quote, in quotes, "I'm going to bury you." That's a direct threats. Now, I don't think Eugene Melnyk is going to kill anyone, but he obviously does not like the guy anymore, and Brett Wallace was also kicked off from the team on reporting the team, and obviously there's some bad blood there. Now, I don't think that he's technically going to bury him. I'm not sure how you do that without killing someone, but it obviously means that Eugene Melnyk has some bad blood with Brett Wallace, and it means that, hey, that was kind of a threat there. And I think, honestly, that's really, really big news, because if Eugene Melnyk is just friending any reporter that asks him a pretty serious question, what is he going to do to other reporters that come in through the team and ask him any simple question that involves the team and maybe how bad they're doing? Let's just say a reporter says, hey, are you pretty disappointed with the team's condition right now? Are you disappointed with them in the standings? And Eugene Melnyk would go that far with them? I mean, just for an example, I mean, why would he really go that far for a question that was perfectly valid? Now, not only does this whole situation just really validate that Eugene Melnyk is not really the most secure person in the world, it also says that, hey, he treats these reporters like absolute dirt. If you ask any questions that are out of line, you're going to get buried, apparently. And that's scary for a lot of reporters covering the Ottawa Senators. I mean, the Ottawa Senators, let's be honest, are not in the greatest condition right now. So what are reporters supposed to do? Report on the team doing well? Well, there's not that much to report on, because the team is not doing well, and there's not really anything good to report on the team right now. So really, if I was a reporter for the Ottawa Senators, I'd be pretty disgusted right now. I'd be pretty confused, because at this point, what else are you supposed to report on? The Ottawa Senators are practically a dumpster fire right now, so really, there's nothing good to report on anyways. Sure, you could make 20 articles about how bae Thomas Chabot is, which is perfectly fine, because Thomas Chabot is a stud, but really at this point, what are the reporters supposed to do? How are they going to be able to do their job if they can't criticize the team at any point in the reporting? If they can't do that, then what kind of job security does he have? What kind of job security do the people and the reporters have if they can't see anything bad about the team? If they're scared their job is on the line all the time, then there's just going to be false reporting. There's going to be reporting that's just safe and sorry, which nobody really wants anyways. Now, those two stories are pretty juicy, but now we have this interesting one that just developed in the last couple of days. Apparently, Eugene Melnyk has a Twitter burner account? And when I first heard about this, I thought it might be crazy, but the more and more I look into it, the more and more I think that someone high up in the Ottawa Senators organization created a burner account to spread Ottawa Senators propaganda. Meet Aubrey Childress on Twitter at AubreyChildress8. Now this, I think, is a Ottawa Senators burner account. Now this account has 28 followers, it's tweeted 8 times, and it was joined November 2018. Seems about right until you look at her tweets. I'm going to say quotations because I'm really not sure right now. Now, I think I'm going to put the tweet on the screen right here. This is her first tweet where she linked the Ottawa Senators Uber video, and that's all fine and dandy. Then she says, take the video down. What is the end game? At OttawaSun.com and at Ottawa Citizen said, glad Ottawa has an owner who will stand up for his players. Now, that statement is just plain wrong, but hey, that's just maybe a bad take. But the rest they really get even juicier. Now, this is a tweet that got the most attention. I think this was her 3rd tweet. She said, Ottawa fans should remember that the former owner almost bankrupted the team and cannot pay players. At Eugene Melnyk rescued the team at OttawaSun.com, Ottawa Citizen, and Sun Donnie B. Now, this one got a lot more attention and a lot more comments because obviously it was directed at Eugene Melnyk, saying that he was the savior of the Ottawa Senators and he saved the franchise from the brink of death. But really, that is also not true at all. Now, this is the last tweet I'm going to show, and this was in response, of course, to Ken Warren getting kicked off of the team flight. Now, she, in quotation marks, said that, hope he has a long walk home. What did he think was going to happen? Only reason the video was published by Ottawa Citizen and OttawaSun.com was to hurt and embarrass the Sens and the ownership. Now, I'm not sure how many people have that take, but I'm pretty sure that's almost exactly what Eugene Melnyk was thinking and almost exactly what Eugene Melnyk was saying after this entire incident. But when you look for this whole profile and all the tweets that were shown in this video so far, and in the tweets that she has, again, quotation marks and she, it really seems like an account that Eugene Melnyk would set up. Now, there's no banner on her account, she just has a profile picture, and it seems like a picture that Eugene Melnyk would just pull off of Google and make as the profile picture. Honestly, right now, I'm not sure if it is Eugene Melnyk himself, but I'm pretty convinced that it is someone at least high up in the Ottawa Senators management. Wouldn't be surprised if it's Pierre Dorion, but really, I would not be surprised if it's Eugene Melnyk at this point. Now, of course, take this with a grain of salt because it isn't totally confirmed, but some hockey reporters have been picking up on this. I think Travis Yost picked up on this, and some other guys picked up on this. But really, when it comes down to it, looking for the tweets, looking for the replies, and of course the comment section, which is hilarious. Again, I'm convinced this is Eugene Melnyk's Twitter burner account, and if it isn't, I think it's someone in the Ottawa Senators organization. It just seems like it, and from the tweets, there really can't be someone so pro-Ottawa Senators at this point. And right now, I feel like there could be only Ottawa Senators employee or only Eugene Melnyk that would make these tweets. Sure, you might have some ignorant fans, and you might have some diehard fans, but this Twitter account was made right after the Uber incident, and the tweets just started coming after all of these incidents with Eugene Melnyk. And right now, I don't think there's any fan of the Ottawa Senators that would say that Eugene Melnyk rescued the franchise. I don't think people can be that ignorant, so that's why I'm saying it might be Eugene Melnyk. And let's just be honest, ask yourself if there are any owners besides Eugene Melnyk that would make a burner account. Eugene Melnyk just seems perfect for this role of making Eugene Melnyk a burner account to spread Ottawa Senators propaganda, to spread his name in a good light, even if he accomplished the exact opposite with his burner account so far. But right now, I don't think there's any other owner that would make sense besides Eugene Melnyk. And if it is actually Eugene Melnyk, that would be super, super juicy and would create even more stories for the Ottawa Senators, which is exactly what they don't need right now. And thankfully, it's not Pierre Dorion, because that would get him in a lot of trouble. But for Eugene Melnyk, I think it is him, and I'm pretty dialed on him being the guy. Whether or not that actually happens or not, and whether it is actually Eugene Melnyk, we'll have to wait and see for that. But right now, from the stuff that we've seen, I'm pretty convinced. And for the Ottawa Senators, this past week has been pretty devastating for their reputation, which already wasn't pretty high when it came to ownership, but right now I think is at a rock bottom. You have that Uber incident, which just almost completely rippled the team at points. They're saying that they're getting past that, which right now we'll see, but Eugene Melnyk has obviously not gone past that. They're going after the Ottawa Sun, they're going after the Ottawa Citizen, and right now Eugene Melnyk is in a whole nother level of just terribleness and obviously incompetence. And people already had low faith in Eugene Melnyk being the guy to lead Ottawa to the promised land. But these three stories were really uncovered yesterday, in the last couple of days, before even the Uber incident happened. So we had the terrible reputation of Eugene Melnyk before these stories even came out, and more stories about Eugene Melnyk being incompetent and being just an a-hole come out. And really, I don't think Eugene Melnyk can get worse than this. He can try, but right now he's at a rock bottom for even his standards. So for me right now, while there might be some worse teams in the NHL, I don't think any team is more incompetently run than the Ottawa Senators, and having a guy like Eugene Melnyk as the head owner is something that didn't work at the start and has never worked for the Ottawa Senators. Even though they got to the Eastern Conference Final and were close to the Stanley Cup Final, pretty much everything since then has gone wrong, and with Eugene Melnyk, it has gone wrong. So for me, I thought the bad press and the bad stories were going to stop last year or before this season, but we see even more juicy details about the Ottawa Senators come out this year, and starting this year, they're back to their incompetence. They're back to their old Ottawa Senators ways that they were last year. It seems like the big old team and the same old team that was making mistakes after mistakes, and especially Eugene Melnyk. So honestly, at this point, anything going forward when it comes to drama for the Ottawa Senators, I think is open reign, because right now, I think that anything is possible with this Ottawa Senators management when it comes to just getting bad press and doing the wrong thing. I think if things can go wrong, the Ottawa Senators will do their hardest to make sure it goes wrong. And with this current ownership group, the last week has been a disaster, but the last couple of weeks, or the last couple of years, have been just straight a disaster. And especially for Eugene Melnyk, I don't think that's going to get much better. Now, of course, with these stories, I want to hear from you guys. What do you think about Eugene Melnyk abandoning a reporter from coming on the flight and talking ill will about a reporter that was asking him a question? What do you also think about the potential burner account that Melnyk has? Do you think it's real? Do you think it's him? And only if it is him, what do you think will happen next? Now, if you want some more Grav goodness, you can watch this video where I talk about my initial thoughts on the Ottawa Senators Uber incident and the whole situation surrounding it. But that's going to be it, guys. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you like and subscribe. Again, tell me below your thoughts on this whole situation and, of course, the drama and controversy involved with this. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.